And good day. This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist. I'm here in the heart of the podcast layer, and I am joined by somebody I consider a friend, somebody I consider a patriot, and she's decided to do something that is a hard leap for people. Politics has a dirty name. It probably deserves the dirty name. It's almost a 4-letter word. And yet, we need good people to step up and to run. She has decided to step into the belly of the beast because for Fresno County, I think the biggest problem and the greatest place to make change would be right in the heart of Fresno. So, main city in Fresno County is Fresno. We're talking 500,000 people, and she's running for city council in a district that really needs a representative that's going to care. Welcome, Anji Brown.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Fresno's been a home of mine for a while, and I've grown to love it. I've been wanting to, be a part of the community for about 4 years. I came here from Los Angeles. I'm a transplant, so I came here from LA.
But you jumped right in. We've known each other almost 5 years, and you jumped in with both feet.
And that's because when I was in LA, before it just went crazy, I was, kind of getting involved with the city there. I was living in Compton.
Ooh.
Yes, honey. I was you talk about belly of the beast.
I've only been in Compton once. I went in a thrift shop, and suddenly everybody just shopping, minding their own business.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in and he starts screaming and having a fit. Yes. And I went, it's just time for me to slip right on out and leave. I've had enough of this.
Yeah. So I grew up in Compton. So I'm born and raised in LA, and then I moved to Northern California, Monterey, Seaside area. And
what a culture shift.
Yeah. And, I met my husband in the 6th grade. So I've been married to him for about 33 years, and I've known him since the 6th grade, junior high.
So my producers joke about, your childhood sweetheart.
Yes.
Goes back just a little farther than we thought.
Way back. I've known him forever. So
breaking news right now. Your crush is what? I'm just kidding.
Well, that's my crush too, because I did date him in my sophomore year. And, I was in high school. You just were boy crazy. At least I was. And so, I just decided he was too good of a friend to be my boyfriend. And so I just said, maybe we should just be friends. And he'll tell you a different story, and I'm going to disavow any knowledge of what he says. But but at graduation in '89, we got back together, and we've been together ever since. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm glad you came to your senses.
Yes.
Because he's a good man.
That's what he would say. Yes. I got lucky, and I did. Yeah, God has really smiled on me with him. So.
I think you both got lucky.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you came to your senses.
Yes.
Because you'd have a very different path.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you're from Compton. This
am.
Explains why you don't back down. Because I've seen you pushed into a corner.
I'm a fighter, honey. And that's just, how it is. I see something, and I'm usually rooting for the underdog. And Fresno has been an underdog for a while. And, I'm one of those, how you have a relative that would come every, holiday and everything. That's how I am with Fresno. I was in LA, but my in-laws moved here. My sister-in-law graduated from Fresno State. She's a heptathlete, a Hall of Famer with Fresno State. And so,
cool.
My family's been here for a while. And so my husband and my family and we came here in 2020, right at the peak of COVID. And, like I said, I was the relative that would come and visit Fresno. So I kind of knew a lot about Fresno and the good things about Fresno and how reasonably cheap it was to live here. But I just didn't know a lot about the town and the government part of it. And so when I did come here, I looked around and I saw, I wanted to be a part of what Fresno had to offer. And so I met people like yourself. I met the Hudspeths, and I met the Patties of them all, and I met
I was hanging out with two of those, the last three names yesterday.
And so they are the jewels of Fresno. I tell you, if you want to know anything, you just go talk to Patty, honey, and she will let you know. And so I started getting involved with a lot of different organizations, with the Freedom Luncheon. It was the Liberty Coalition, and now it is Freedom Luncheon.
As long as it kept going, that's all that really mattered.
It kept going. We did not back down. We did not stop. And I got a part of Team America with Ted Laurent and, Larry Hudspeth and the Constitutionalists. He invited me there, and that's when I got to know you. And so I just began to, start to become infectious. And I was at a CRA meeting, which is another organization I'm part of, which is the California Republican Assembly. And, there was a call for people to get involved with the city council. And that's when I realized, something inside of me just started stirring. My spirit just started catching on fire. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And, I said, you know what? I put my name out there. I said, yes, I raised my hand and I said, yes, I'm going to run for city council. And that was about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I've been in it ever since. I've been, say, okay, I'm running for city council. And so I've started to get, notarized and, getting, getting my face out there and, oh, okay, we need you. And, so it just kind of started from there.
So
and
you've been going to grassroots politics events. Do you go to Kiwanis?
I haven't been to Kiwanis. I have been to the Rotary Club.
Okay, you should be going to both of those.
Yes.
Because that's a great place for people to learn who you are.
Yes. And that's how I met Lorenzo Rios, who's actually running for Congress, I think the 21st district.
Yeah.
And he's running for to replace Mr. Costas.
Chicken Jim Costa.
Yeah.
and I call him Chicken Jim because he doesn't show up to debates. I know of 5 debates and he showed up to 1. 20% of the time Jim shows up. The rest of the time he chickens out.
Because he doesn't have to. And we all know why. We all know why he doesn't have to, because he's going to win. We already know.
I'm not so sure he's going to win this time.
Yeah.
Lorenzo's strong, smart candidate.
Yes, and he's about that life, like we could say in the hood. He's about that life, and he's got God in his life. And so when you have God in your life, there's no losing. You got everything. And so
I should guess that you're a believer?
I am definitely a believer. And one of the I'm a true believer, and I believe that, the reason why so much evil has infiltrated our politics is because we've lost the knowledge of knowing who our authority is. God works through us. His authority works through us. And so when we lose that authority, and when we don't tap into that authority that God has given us, then that's when evil starts to take over. And, I'm tired of evil taking over.
But wait. Here in California, isn't there a separation between church and home?
Oh, well, that's what
I didn't say church and state.
Right.
Church and home.
Yeah, that's what they like to say. And church and state and church and all of that. And that's a lie. That's a lie from the pit of evil. And so we need to know who we are. And I know who I am. I know that God has given us dominion over this land and over...
Doesn't that include politics?
And that includes politics.
And shouldn't we be defending, if we're actually Christians, biblical values?
We should be defending biblical values.
They might not have an R or a D by their name, but they're still biblical values.
They are still biblical values. We're supposed to love each other, come together as one another. And that is my strategy. That is my montage with my campaign, is unity. through community. We got to come together. We can't do it by ourselves. I can't do it by myself. I have to do it with you. I have to do it with Phil. I have to do it with everyone, and we all need to come together. And with part of my strategy for bettering Fresno is to get the voice of all Fresnonians, especially in District 3, where
Define your district.
It is Southwest Fresno, South Fresno, West Fresno, Central Unified, Tower District, and Downtown.
Okay, so think of it as what, from about McKinley south
and west, and Central Unified is more west. Tower District is more west.
Does it go over as far as Cedar?
I don't think so. I think it goes as far as Van Ness.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've looked at those maps.
Yeah. But
well, folks, local matters, and
it does.
Electing local people
does.
changes the possibilities that are there.
It
now,
does.
You're going on to a council that I don't consider to be terribly functional. Where do you find allies? How do you work with these people? Have you met them?
I have. I'm currently in cahoots with one of the city council members, Nick Richardson, who is newly appointed for
elected.
Newly
not appointed.
Elected. He worked his butt. I'm sorry, Nick. You have been elected, my friend. Absolutely. And you have definitely earned that election. And I'm definitely working with him and getting to know him a lot. And he's helping me out with strategy and things like that on how to win this race. And
he did a great job of team building.
Yes.
He worked his butt off.
Yes.
Walking districts.
Yes. And he also told me to be a part of everything. Get to know everybody. Get to know all the different communities.
Even the people you disagree with.
Even the ones we disagree with or may not agree with. And so I am definitely doing that. I did a forum with the Black church. Now, I'm Black, as you can tell. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Breaking news
You're
again.
Sure?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. So, I kind of want to work with my skin folk. And so I went to a church in the local area here in District 3. And I was amongst the ops, the opposition. And but I spoke, and it was definitely well received, not as much as the other side, but I got to know them. I got to see what their concerns are, and I got to see what, have a discussion back and forth of their ideas and what they want to see happen in District 3. I'm definitely getting more knowledgeable about the different aspects of their needs and wants. They want change. They definitely want change. They definitely want people that are going to speak for them and be the voice for them and actually provide and do the changes that they want to see in their district.
Well, you're different in more than one way, but one of them is you have kind of a different political philosophy, and you're on a different team than every other candidate.
And that is that's not well received within the Black community. They have been voting one way
but they want
historically,
change.
And they want change. And
so
the definition
you need to point that out.
The definition of insanity is continually doing the same thing, expecting different results.
But you've been seeing a lot of hope out there. That's why you keep on going. Friends are like saying, you know what, you can't take our vote for granted anymore. Even in the Hispanic community, it's there's a shift.
What are you going to do for our vote? What will you see? And I do. When I came out of that particular discussion, I did see a lot of people, say, hey, there's actually a person not on the same type of voting demographic that I'm used to, and they have other aspects, and they want, they don't even want to learn about the Constitution. They don't see that their schools are failing and things like that. And it is up to me to let them know that, hey, we're failing.
I can't imagine they don't see the schools as failing.
I don't know. I don't know why they continue to go for the same people that have caused the problems that we're seeing in our schools. You know, one of the candidates is on the school board of the failing school district.
The largest failure in California.
Right.
The worst school district,
Right.
worst large school district, to be fair,
Yes.
in California. Bottom 5 in the nation. I'm not exactly sure which number they are anymore because they stopped reporting certain test results to that reporting organization so that they can't then report how bad they are. That's how they fix the problem, by hiding it.
Yeah, and our school district, we have 100 schools in our district here in Fresno, and 8 of them are maybe top 4, top 5, 4 out of 5 stars, and one of them is most of them are the high schools, and they're the ones
the magnet schools.
They're the magnet schools and the high schools, and the rest are failing.
Not even close to grade level.
Not even close to grade level.
Last I heard, it was 17% math proficiency.
All I know is that they are graduating high school at a 1st to 4th grade reading level.
Wow.
This is high schoolers.
Yeah. So
Can't even read.
You're not part of that government.
No, ma'am.
But
No, sir.
you can't nobody can have a successful community if there's where
Our
people are
schools are
graduating. So
failing.
you have to be an advocate for that, even
Right.
though you're not going to be, think of it as within your district. If you're elected, there'll be Central Unified. That's one government. There'll be your piece of government on city council and Fresno Unified.
Yeah.
And Fresno Unified is this gaping group of losers except for their magnet schools.
Yeah. And
I don't mean the kids are losers. I mean the system is failing the kids.
It's the system and the school board, because they're so more focused on things that have nothing to do with the betterment of our community. It has to do with gender, and they're confusing our kids. They don't even know. The girls don't know if they want to be a girl or a boy. The boys don't know if they want to be a boy or a girl, and they're not trying to promote and encourage our kids to love themselves for who they are, who they were created to be. They're not trying to enhance any of that. And right now our kids are confused and they're angry, and they don't want to be a part of anything right now. And so I'm definitely going to encourage our youth to be a part of our community, and encourage them to know who they are and love themselves for who they are. And, I'm definitely going to be a part of the curriculum that our school boards are entrusted of creating, and definitely doing some tweaks and some adjustments to what is being learned in our schools.
You can provide public pressure.
Yes.
But it's going to be tough because it's like you're talking to an entirely separate part of government. With the part that you would have more control over. Again, who would be your allies on that city council that maybe you could push through a piece of reasonable legislation or a piece of funding to do a project?
Definitely the mayor, the city manager. I'm definitely a likable person, so I definitely will be able to get to know a lot of the people, the officials within our city government, and we'll change some minds. I'll be able to change some minds.
I would say that, if I may, I think you're very disarming. I think you going out of your way in your own community to reach out across the aisle.
Yes.
And I think that's what I like seeing out there in the different groups with in the community. You really go out of your way. You're very likable most of the time. Just kidding. No, you're
no, most of the time.
Most of the time you are.
Till you do something wrong that I don't like, but I'm definitely going to be a likable person. I love everybody, and whether they, I agree with them or not, we're definitely going to find some common ground, because everybody knows that our city is messed up right now. We all know that.
Yeah.
May I ask a couple questions real quick?
Go for it.
Okay. So just so you making the media circuit, and I know you have a conservative, fiscal, and a social, and there's a lot of things, but government, especially Fresno, has a black hole deficit around $20 million or so. And so how are you going to approach that? A lot of politicians want to raise and add more fees. and sometimes they have to make hard decisions. So what do? You got to be a negotiator, a deal maker, all that. So how would you approach that?
Well, I definitely would be diplomatic and see everybody's needs, and then we're just going to have to work together. That's what we're going to have to do. I'm definitely a unifier, and we're going to have to work together to address all the needs. I'm going to be having, city town halls and getting everybody in, especially in my district, involved with the decision making of our city, especially in District 3. We have to come together. That's the only way we're going to make some changes. And with that, I'm definitely going to be a decision maker as far as creating or putting money towards the things that work. It doesn't make sense for us to call a particular plan transformative climate cities or communities when all we have to do is just fix the pavement, adjust the pavement or the sidewalk to accommodate our elderly and our handicap. Why? What are all these words and names that we have to try to jimmy rig our system when all we know we need sidewalks that accommodate. We know we need transportation for the city, people who don't have cars. We know we need to decrease the amount of our greenhouse gases by stopping the chemtrails that we have and knowing where
that's a conspiracy
the
theory.
Batteries are being disposed of for these solar panels that don't work for anything. What are we using solar panels for? Are they working? No. If they're not, then why are we having them? Why are they trying to put solar panels fields covering our agricultural land? What are we doing?
I'm paying.
We need to do things that make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I pay a $300 a month on the solar payment, plus another $300 for PG&E.
So we're getting
and
doubled
then
it.
I true up every year $3,000. Then I have to make a payment arrangement on that. So I'm back at making $700 or so plus of PG&E.
We're doing things and we're getting robbed in the process.
No, it's worse than we're doing. They're mandated by the state government, and they never see the unintended consequences that not only cost our freedom, but they cost our local control, so we can't define our own destiny.
Right.
How do you get creative and find your way around grabbing back some of that local control?
What was that town that during the COVID and they were doing all the lockdowns and the mandates, and there was a little bitty town not too far from us that refused to...
That would be Atwater, and that would be... Mayor Paul Creighton.
It was one of those little towns, and they refused to lock down. They
called themselves a COVID sanctuary city, and they flourished. But you're also sitting in a COVID sanctuary city. We didn't define it that way in Clovis. We shut down from March 18th until May 8th. May 8th, we had a big meeting. Mm-hmm. We all went to city council, meaning a few hundred people. And more than 100 wanted to speak. I finally left at like 1 a.m.
Y'all stayed there that long?
Well, I wanted to make sure I heard several people speak, and I spoke. Mm-hmm. And so everybody except for Lynn Ashbeck voted to reopen. She sadly refused to even give her reasons. Lynn, I'm not happy with you about that. And Lynn, if you want to talk to me about that.
Well, that is not going to be me. I am against anti-mandate on anything. If you're voting to reduce my freedoms, then I'm not with it. I'm not voting for anything that is going to reduce the amount of liberty and freedoms that I am entitled to. That is God-given freedoms. You're not going to make me get any shots. You're not going to make me, and I'm definitely not going to be on a city council and vote for things like that. That just doesn't make sense to me. So anything reducing my freedoms, we're not doing. I'm done. I'm done with the craziness This is ridiculous. These are rights that were given to us by God. So if the world didn't give me anything, the world can't take it away. And there's a song.
I know that song.
There's a song. You know that song,
Can't
honey.
give it away.
That's right. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. And so that's the mindset that we need to have in our community right now. Is this joy I have, this freedom that I have? Nobody in the city council gave it to me, so we can't take it away. And we need to start to get back our freedoms. We need to start being the decision makers within our own community on how our schools are ran. Our parents need to get back involved with the way our children are being taught and being, instructed in schools. And so we need to get back our parental rights. We need to get back our medical freedom. We need to get back all of these things. And that's what my goal is to, once I get into that city council, is to get all those freedoms back to us and to the community.
I think there's two paths forward as far as fixing the deficit problem in Fresno. Mm-hmm. And one is going to be all about taxes and fees.
Yeah.
And the other is going to be about trying to grow your way out of it. Stop spending like a drunken sailor, and then encourage business. And so which camp are you in, first of all?
Well, I'm encouraging business and entrepreneurship. And I think that with the incentives or the decreasing of taxes, incentivizing people to want to create their own business and to create their own, get back into small business. And then the community patronizes, and I think that will increase jobs, and then it will definitely help the businesses thrive, so that we can, be able to generate better taxes. So, it's going to be baby steps at first, because we've dug ourselves in a big hole. And I'm sure, we had a lot of money. We had a surplus. I don't know what happened to it, but there's nothing thriving in downtown. There's nothing thriving in Tower. There's, I'm getting a lot from the community about how, ideas on how to get our community excited to be here and to be a part of the community and get our economy rolling again. So, it's going to take us all. It's going to take all of us. And I'm the one that's going to be that voice in the city council that's going to represent those that want to get Fresno back on track. And, I don't want to try to, I think that our taxes should be increased on some aspects, but then not for housing. I think we are doing good with housing taxes. We've gotten taxed enough in our housing, and we just got to work together.
Government basically brings money in three major ways.
Hospital?
No. I mean funding what happens with the government. Mm-hmm. So property tax, businesses. Okay, sales tax. Mm-hmm. Fees and grants. I know that's technically four, but grants sometimes play a big role and sometimes don't. Mm-hmm. Fees like a building permit. Mm-hmm. A sidewalk permit for the right to use the sidewalk in front of your business. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? But that's how it is. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that local government has the right to make those decisions, not the state.
Right.
And definitely not the federal government.
Right.
So, at the local level, you can get rid of somebody you don't like. With those income streams, where would be your focus? What can you change?
The business tax, sales tax. I definitely want to dive a little bit more into not knowing what it is, where our money's going.
So I can answer part of that.
Okay.
But go.
I want to know where our money is going that we do have, that we are generating. And
so have you sat down with the city manager of Fresno? Have you sat down with anybody in the finance department? Because that in Clovis, they'd be thrilled to have you come. In Fresno, I think your kind enough and nice enough when you meet somebody and warm enough that you could talk your way in, but it's not quite the same welcoming. But you need to actually sit down with those people.
Yeah, I will do that, and I'm working on meeting with several other individuals that have to do with our water infrastructure and the security of that, as well as our farmers. I'm willing to sit down with them and see what their issues are and how city council can be supportive in helping their jobs be easier, so, as well as our law enforcement. I sat down with Chief Mindy. I love her. And she's just like, we just lock people up. And so I definitely want to know, and I got a lot of knowledge on what city council can do to make their jobs easier. And so, yes, I'm definitely willing to sit down with anybody and know who, and how and when and how we can work together, because that's what it's all going to boil down to, is we know the problems. We all know the problems that are facing our community, and we just need to rectify them and stop doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, because it's not working.
I thoroughly agree that it's not working. I would say that you realize that about 80% roughly, 40% coming from sales tax, 40% coming from property tax, goes to emergency services. I don't know the exact numbers for Fresno. That is typically what it is in California. So I know it's going to be relatively close, but not exact.
Well,
Yet, we've got a huge problem with emergency services, particularly the police in Fresno.
right.
They're behind the 8 ball, and I'm not blaming the police. They're underfunded and understaffed.
Well, quiet as it's kept, I believe a lot of our emergency funding is what you called it.
Well,
is
it's not
being-
emergency funding, it's emergency services.
Services.
And I just gave you the source for most of the funding. They also get some grants.
And so that is being laundered right now. California has laws where they are using loopholes to accommodate people who aren't supposed to be here. They're not here legally, and when they go into the emergency room, they then are receiving free health care under the guise of an emergency when it's actually not an emergency. And so California as a state definitely needs to change some laws, and they are getting, the receipts are out, and people are being exposed as to where the money is going for emergency services. And a lot of it is being taken away from our law enforcement and putting it into our healthcare emergency rooms, and it's being siphoned through, like I said, to people who aren't even supposed to be here. So once we get that situation together, I believe that our monies can kind of divert back to where they're supposed to go, and our law enforcement can be funded better.
But we're
as
a
well
sanctuary state.
Yeah.
And isn't Fresno a sanctuary city?
I hope not.
I kind of think it is.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I need to get on the city council, because
So you'd
that's
be
not
one more
right.
voice, 'cause
There's
I don't think that's
one more
reasonable.
voice to where we should, because this is why we're in a deficit right now. Our monies are not being used to the point where everybody as a whole, it's only being diverted to one group of people. And when that happens, that snuck in and aren't even supposed to be here. And so I'm all for immigration rights. And, if you want to come here the right way, that's fine. But don't come over here waving a flag for a country you don't even want to go to. That's my problem. And so when you're going to kind of come here and suck up all of our resources and get free this, free that, and then District 3 is underserved and a lot of stuff is dumped into District 3 that the people in other districts don't want to deal with. And that's a problem for me too. And I notice that's why we're not even, in a place where other parts of Fresno are. We should be having, we're there coming up with a plan called the West Area Neighborhood Specific Plan, where they're going to start to build and enhance and refurbish and fix the roads and, grow more trees and have certain different types of housing. And that's all wonderful and beautiful on paper. But what is the action? What are we actually doing? Is the money actually going to go for us in this TCC plan called Transformative Climate Community?
They basically want think of it this way. It's a 15-minute city or 15-minute neighborhoods called concentration camps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I only jokingly say that, but in England, guess what? If you live in one of those, in some of them, you have to get permission
to leave. Yeah. Well, that's not happening because this is America. We're not England. And so we have the Second Amendment on our side. And, I know Fresno liked their Second Amendment. And even in
we're supposed to bow before Lord Newsom.
Oh, well, that's not going to happen. No. We're not doing that. So when tyranny starts to raise its ugly head, it's time to, abolish that.
Now, I think the Peanut Gallery has a question because he's just chomping at the bit.
Okay.
I'm just really curious because, we see a national, and it's great stats, unemployment rate has gone down. But, in California, it's a whole different thing. Mm-hmm. But in Fresno is even higher than our national average, is I think 7.8%. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of jobs.
The Valley's typically 10.
Typically 10. Yeah, and that's the Fresno County, right? The full.
That's more than Fresno.
Unemployment?
But Central Valley unemployment is typically 10, and that only includes people that are still actively seeking jobs. Once they stop doing that after a certain point, they don't even get counted anymore.
Yeah, I'm looking at labormarketinfo.gov. And just the different numbers that they have. It's just disheartening seeing it. But numbers, we get lost in numbers and stats, but it's people. And I'm looking around here in the valley and locally, and you're seeing empty buildings. You're seeing people closing shop. And business owner, I'm a business owner. I want to flourish. You're a business owner. You want to flourish. And it's always more fees, more this. And I see I was looking for office space, and it's gone up, and they're wondering why it's empty. So how can you address some of this as one? And then also a tag sub one is there's a debate in the tower, which is going to be your area, right? Tower District, the street vendors. There is the balance of protecting the local businesses there, but also to the growth of the mom and pop vendors. So what are your thoughts on those two things?
Well, that's another thing we need to. Have tax incentives rather than penalize them by taxing the businesses and small businesses in our district. That's why they're leaving, because not only is it inflation and buildings are being dilapidated, and you have to pay an arm and a leg for a building that's not even up to code right now. And so what is the incentive for a person to even start a business? We have to incentivize entrepreneurship and small business owners. And by doing that, we have to decrease the tax amount. We have to
I don't know that if you successfully have more businesses, you might decrease the rate. But I thoroughly believe in supply side, giving people more of their own money and encouraging them to do something good with it. You typically, every time that's happened at the federal level, we've ended up with more taxes, not less. When you give a tax break, that's what's happened. So I believe that can happen at the local level.
That's what I'm saying. We need to give tax breaks and incentivize people to open up businesses. That way, that will create jobs. That will create a stronger economy. And people in the community would patronize the small businesses rather than the big box stores like the Walmarts of them all. Walmart is not the greatest. They're not, addressing we're in an ag town. We shouldn't have to be worried about food here. So our small businesses should work together with our local farmers and our local food industry, and use that as we got to come together. That's all the part of coming together as a community, and we work together to encourage each other and patronize each other, and that way our community would be stronger that way, and we would incentivize working and jobs and encouraging a stronger economy by working together as a community, and leave these big pops stores alone. And that way, we won't have to worry about going to Walmart for cheaper stuff. We can go down to Susie's market and go to the farmer's market, or go down to the farm over here and get some meat. In Los Banos, they got a meat market right there. And it's cheaper to go there than to go to Costco and get meat. So,
well, there are actually several places in Fresno. They typically have a Spanish name.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. My father-in-law goes there and get his bulk chicken.
They got good stuff. And
They
it's
got
not
good
necessarily processed. You can go get cuts of meat just like you can at the supermarket.
At the supermarket. There's prime meats there. It's a little expensive now because they have to fight with all the other different stores, but there's all kind of local places here where we can patronize and use them. And then that way, that would encourage them. And then the more we as a community patronized our local meat markets, then the lower their prices will go, and they won't have to worry about the big box stores. So it's all supply and demand,
Well, we're down to about 3 minutes. Final thoughts. What is it you want to do? Why are you doing it? Where do you find hope?
I will be the voice for the neglected citizens, our neglected schools, and our kids who are attending these failing schools. I want to bring back prayer in our schools. That way our kids will learn who God is and learn the Constitution. I will be an advocate for our water security and be the supportive voice of our farmers and the farmland that they have to maintain, and help feed our not only our small town and our communities, but the world. I want to bring back and refurbish downtown Fresno and bring back life back into the Tulare and the Fulton areas. I want to bring back tourism and the excitement of what Fresno used to be. I want to decrease homelessness, and by promoting more jobs and opening back, encouraging the small businesses and the entrepreneurship of Fresno. That way, that will decrease homelessness and give them jobs and give them a sense of hope and accomplishment. And we as the citizens of Fresno need to be more involved in the functioning of our community and educate ourselves in knowing who our city officials are, making the decisions who are making the decisions for us. My name is Anji Brown, and I just want to be your city council member for District 3.
So do you have social media and ways to contact you?
My website is up. It's Anji B4FOR FresnoCityCouncil.net. And my website, you can call me 831-224-7050. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Do you want me to put that phone number in the comments?
It's on my website, but yes, you can put it on the comments as well.
And the best time to call is at 2 a.m.?
No, my phone will be off at 2 a.m. You can call me during the day, anytime between 8 and 5. And
so the only question you didn't answer is, why are you hopeful? Because we're down to about 30 seconds.
Because I believe God, and He is in control. It does seem bleak and gloom and doom, but when we come together, God didn't give us a spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power, love and a strong and a sound mind, honey. And so we got to come together and know who we are. We are the kingdom of God. We are His body, and we need to work His authority that He has given us to do.
Well, I'm going to end it at amen.
Amen. Amen.
This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist. Hope you enjoyed today's show. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Yay. I don't know.